Welcome back to the Cinema Sessions with myself, Keith, and as always,
Seamus, hello.
Dubliners Guide to Cinema. So, Seamus, how are you?
Great. For the purposes of the podcast, I won't go in. Oh yeah, loving life.
Everything's going peachy keen.
Yeah, I love this time of year. You know, who needs long days and sunshine? You know, it's all Gucci.
It does get. I noticed it last night. It's getting real wintry. Like, do you know what I mean? And we're only at the bleeding precipice of it. Like, do you know what I mean?
I know it's just. Well, should we put a timestamp on it? We're in the month of October.
Yes, officially.
Which isn't the depths of winter, but it's a transitional period, which makes it difficult.
It's only going to get worse. Like,
yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Knowing that it'll get worse.
Oh, stop! Yeah. And like just just to know that it's going to be like the 18th of January before we break the back of winter. Like, it's so long away.
Yeah, it's awful. Yeah, knowing soon I'll have to turn on the lights on the bike even when I'm going home, and all this. Like the first day you have to do that.
That's the worst part. Is going to work in the dark and coming home in the dark is particularly depressing.
There are parts of the world where they don't get that. Like anyone who listens long enough, I lived in Hong Kong, and there's a 1 hour difference from like the height of summer to the depths of winter, and you tell them like what we go through, and they're like, what? How do you manage that? Like, that
because
must be so
how
weird.
do you go to sleep? It doesn't get dark till 10:30. Like, you know what I mean?
You make do.
It is, but
when you're my age, you fucking gotta sleep no matter what.
But like, it is something to be said about Ireland. Is the really long days, middle of July, like it's something beautiful about it. Like, do you know what I mean?
There is, yeah, and we had a very nice summer this year, which.
Not a lot of rain.
Yeah, when it's a bad summer, it doesn't make much odds because it's the fucking rain all the time. But yeah, there is something to be said for it, and then you kind of pay for it. Maybe some people are into that kind of thing. They like the blustery nights and all this.
Yeah. So we've done the typical Irish thing and started discussing the weather.
I talk about the weather, yeah. So, to avoid talking about our feelings.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously on this podcast we discuss films. The film today is actually friend of the show, I think we'll call him.
Yes.
Kieran Matney.
Certainly not an enemy.
Picked this film, said he'd like to hear us discuss it. So the film we're doing today is 1983's Psycho 2. And if you're like me and didn't know that Psycho had a sequel, strap in.
Yeah, this is fascinating, but I'll do my usual spiel just to bring everyone up to speed. Psycho 2 is a psychological horror thriller from 1983, directed by Richard Franklin and written by Tom Holland, starring Anthony Perkins, Vera Miles, the divine Meg Tilly, and Robert Loggia. The film is a direct sequel to Alfred Hitchcock's 1960 classic. Set 22 years after the original murders, the story follows Norman Bates as he is released from a mental institution and returns to his family's motel, determined to live a normal life. However, when mysterious events begin occurring, Norman starts to question his sanity once again. The film has a 6.6 rating on IMDb with a Metacritic critic score of 54% and a user score of 7.1. On Rotten Tomatoes, it holds a critic score of 67% and an audience score of 62%. Psycho 2 was both a critical and commercial surprise success, grossing around $34.7 million worldwide against a budget of $5 million. On a personal note, friends, if you're struggling with your mental health in this year of our Lord, 2025, well, who'd notice another madman around here? It's very good for the purposes of this that you were kind of unaware of the film.
Yeah.
I was aware of it, and the only reason I think was I was trying to look back to the first time I watched it, and it was on TV, and I remember thinking, this is really good, but I remember it not being a surprise, so I have to figure that I read in like the TV listings, like back in the day in newspapers, they apparently employed a person just to write about the movies that were on every day on TV. And whoever that was must have said, this is actually surprisingly good. Because I remember not being completely surprised by it, but also being like, oh, there is a Psycho 2, huh?
Yeah.
Then when it's 3 and 4, that's where people really go, really? There's
like,
that many?
Because obviously the first time I was made aware of it was Kieran commented on one of the YouTube videos and asked us to discuss it. And I remember going, there's a Psycho 2. Do you know, honest to God, like I claim to be a cinephile, but I'm just a horrible liar. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I had genuinely, and the fact that it spawned 3 sequels, and then when he said Psycho 2, I went, really? Do you know what I mean? I was like, why? This is going to be some harebrained attempt at like
Well, it has. Psycho is a genuinely brilliant film.
It's one of them that's Quentin Tarantino talks all the time about the perfect films. It's I'd put that in that kind of category.
Yeah, although funny enough, he prefers this one to the original. Yeah,
True,
he's not
yeah.
much of a. He admits Hitchcock's a great director, but he's not a huge fan at the same time. I think it's because he feels like the films were hamstrung by the
Hays Code.
the Hays Code and that kind of thing at the time. Psycho, certainly Anthony Perkins in Psycho is perfect. I do think he's brilliant in this one too, but he is perfect in Psycho 1, which is a strange thing to say because it's the famous film. But so this film is a late in the day sequel to a genuinely just good film.
And not only that, it seems like all the rage now, legacy sequels and stuff now. But that's was such a strange accordance for the time. Like, do you know what I mean? Because I mean, obviously, Psycho came out in 1960. This is 1983, and like that was unheard of at the time. Do you know what I mean? And I'm so happy that I didn't read anything before I watched it. Nothing like that because I went into this skeptical, as I think many people probably would, and probably many people at the time did.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that I just didn't do research, quote unquote. Like,
yeah, it is. Well, what's great about it is it takes what you might say is a surprising angle, but it's so logical, the angle that it takes, which is it's a long amount of time later and he's been released and the film is very sympathetic towards him.
Yeah.
Which makes a huge amount of sense. Yet, if you're doing the sequel, wouldn't you just kind of do the same thing? Like
where
he escaped or, you know, something like that.
That would be the done thing. Because, I mean, if you look at all the other kind of horror slashers at the time, you had your Halloween, Friday the 13th was still... that came out in 81. And then it was a year before Freddy. And that's the kind of formula that all the films, horror films at the time were following. Was, okay... And I can imagine hearing about this at the time and going, oh, well, they're going to turn him into a Michael Myers type, do you know what I mean? Stalking everything again. Like, but how the film plays out is...
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's really good. Like,
yeah, you're so sympathetic to him and everything.
Like that was the key. Because I went, right, this fella's a bleeding killer. Like a horrific killer. Do you know what I mean? Obviously... hamstrung by the Hays Code, you can't see the depth of depravity that he was. But Hitchcock is such a good storyteller that you know from watching it that this fella is like the worst of the worst. Like, so you can tell this fella is the worst of the worst from that film. But within 2 minutes of the opening of the thing, you're like, it's like he's like Anthony Perkins plays him like a kick puppy. Do you know what I mean? It's like your heart bleeds, and then all of a sudden you forget what he's done. And then all of a sudden, Vera Miles' character,
and
Lola Loomis,
crazy,
she's all of a sudden you're like, oh, you hate that bitch. Do you know what I mean? But that's massive writing, and obviously it comes from performance as well. Like Anthony Perkins he's Norman Bates. Like that's it.
Yeah. He was a very great actor. Yeah.
He's amazing. Like, and we can probably get into some of his troubles. Like, but like to be able to turn that villain into someone you're rooting for, and you feel really emotionally attached to.
Yeah, I think even your most like fire and brimstone kind of lock him up, throw away the key. You do kind of go like, yeah, well that does.
Well, he was rehabilitated. Like, do you know what I mean? So I'm just going to read. I asked Kieran to give us a few words on why he wanted us to discuss it and stuff like that. So I'll just read this out. Honestly, it's one of those films that has fallen a bit under the radar, and people have mixed views. With booming horror franchises at the time, Friday the 13th, Halloween, etc., you forgot Psycho was one as well. 3 sequels. But it seems there was more passion put into those films than other slashers. Perkins directed the third one. It's an early example of a late stage sequel which was rare at the time, but seen often nowadays. Jesus Christ, Kieran. But seen often nowadays. In cinema, think Halloween 2018, Exorcist Believer, etc. Would you compare it between then and now? But it does. But does it do the usual nostalgia baiting, references, etc., or try and build upon the original? Everyone talks about the original Psycho and loves it, but it's rare to hear what people think of the sequels. Do you think it was worth it? Does it do itself justice? Cash grab or artistic risk? Thoughts on the slasher influences? The psychological thriller aspects on if Norman is doing it or not. So thanks for your broken English.
Yeah. Oh, I call that stream of consciousness.
James
Joyce.
I'm only messing with you.
There's a lot of meat in the bone of the film. Anyway, there's a lot to talk about there. The film was essentially started as like a moneymaker. Universal, I think, were just like, oh yeah, maybe. I think it was apparently meant to be a cable TV film. And then Perkins became involved, and then they saw the reaction that there was in the press to, another Psycho, fuck yeah.
But it should be noted as well that Perkins was hesitant because obviously after Psycho, he was typecast as the weird...
As a Psycho, yeah.
Psycho.
No, well, the scene with him and Janet Leigh where they're just having a conversation, and it is just like Hitchcock was... His strongest suit in a weird way was dialogue scenes. Like he even used the camera brilliantly in those.
Yeah.
And the way it turns from he's this nice friendly guy, but you brought up the wrong thing.
Yeah.
She said, wouldn't you think your mother's happier in a home? And like it had that great sense of, I don't know this person and I've said something that upset them, and he goes kind of weird and all this and
played so well because it's mid-sentence and he just switches. And it happens once in this film as well to great effect. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, what pushes it into it was an interesting point Kieran brought up there. It was started like it's a commercial entity, Universal. They wanted to make money. The people who made it with such passion and care that the film, it transcends its origins. If you even want, I don't even consider it to be a cash grab because I'm just like, this is just a good film with a genuine story to tell. Yeah, that is not.
It's not trying to rehash, or it's not trying to do what would be considered the normal thing and just have him be this Psycho. Do you know what I mean?
Well, even moments where it does, like there is a shower scene, but I think what they do is they play it up as in like there's a great tension to it. This is a bit from the will the same thing happen? It plays on attention as opposed to like what they do now, which is nudge, nudge, wink, wink, like, oh, look, it's a shower thing. Or he's standing at the bottom of the motel steps and like, oh, right, yeah.
And, but it should be pointed out as well, I was reading Richard Franklin purposely shot the shower scene differently because he didn't want to mimic Hitchcock. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he purposely shoots it, like we see it from, I know we're kind of jumping ahead here, but we'll get to it as well. But he shoots it from the hole in the wall rather than being in the room. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, he
purposely did that because he didn't. He knew that if he puts the he himself said if I put the camera in there, I'm just going to reshoot the.
I'll give him points for that. Now I don't think he's passed away now, but I don't think he would mind if I say Hitchcock is stronger at the shots. Like he's doing a Hitchcock-esque kind of a style, but like no one can really quite do it to the same degree. He was an Australian, excuse me. He was apparently in UCLA, I think, with like George Lucas and Spielberg. He was there around the same time anyway. I assume he had American parentage or he was on some scholarship or something, but he made some movies in Australia, two of which I saw. He did one called Patrick, which is kind of a creepy thing of a guy in a coma, but who seems to be psychically affecting things in the hospital. And one called Road Games, which is kind of a slasher, that was quite good. But yeah, there was really hyped at the time how he was kind of like a student of Hitchcock. He had met him. Yeah. And I don't know that he'd ever worked with him, but he had a personal connection to Hitchcock, and he apparently asked his daughter, like, is this okay if I do this? And she was like, yeah.
She gave the blessing, yeah.
Having said that, it's such a different story to the first Psycho, which is what makes it great. Like if they'd have fucked it up, it'd be a completely forgotten film. But it just is so logical yet so surprising at the same time. Like, what kind of a film is it? Yeah, like to Kieran's point, like the legacy thing today, they'd have some other fucking guy running the motel, and then at the end, Norman Bates would show up for 5-second cameo to be like, let's open the hotel again or some shit like that.
That's just so true.
Might be giving people ideas here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But like, it doesn't enter my head that it was a cash grab at all.
No, not at all. And so obviously, I said a second ago, Perkins was hesitant to do it, and they actually considered Christopher Walken to be Norman Bates.
Which would have been interesting at least.
It would have been interesting, but like fantastic actor, and he's great at playing that type of role. Fantastic at it. But can you imagine the voice? I can't imagine.
He's a little too obviously crazy in a comedic kind of a way, walking. Whereas with Perkins, it's kind of heightened, but it's still quite sad and relatable. He's just a very. I haven't seen much of his other stuff. He did a film with Orson Welles called The Trial. He was a very, very good actor. But I haven't seen huge amounts of his work, so I don't. Apparently, he was like a bit of a heartthrob before Psycho came out, and then everyone's like, "Oh, stay away from me." But this definitely didn't, I think, help his career.
Yeah, he's
the first one. Sorry,
yeah, because he's just a victim of his own success. Because he's so talented at playing Norman Bates. Yeah, he is Norman Bates.
He was born to play that role.
Yeah, and then it just didn't go well for him after that. Like,
yeah, I should have dug into it a bit more, but definitely this was like, I was surprised he kind of turned it down. I was like, geez, was he rolling in dough or anything, or like what was going on? But like he apparently was quite a serious actor. I think he probably went back to the stage or something for a while, but he was apparently very, very serious and very knowledgeable. And I think there was a moment where he wanted to direct this. So I don't know what it was like working with him on this, although apparently he and the director got on fairly well. Yeah. He didn't get on very well with Meg Tilly, who I will have a lot to say about, because we may as well hop into it. Why not? Meg Tilly, she's sisters with Jennifer Tilly. Oh. The similarly divine Jennifer Tilly, bride of Chucky and Bound and all that. And Liar Liar.
Yeah, don't forget.
Anyway, sorry, I'll just take a moment there. Fantastic looking pair of sisters is all I can say. They had a very difficult childhood apparently. So Meg Tilly didn't really know what Psycho was. So the story goes, one day on set, she was like, what's the big deal with Anthony? Like, why is everyone always, hanging around him? However she said it, I don't know. But apparently Perkins heard that and was, maybe understandably like, what's your fucking problem? Like, you're saying I'm stealing your thunder. So they didn't get on very well. They had very good chemistry in the film.
Which that's surprising. Yeah. Because, like, they really do. And I don't think Meg Tilly's performance is not going to be as non-submersible unit. We'll put it that way, like. But I thought the chemistry was good. Because I do think she's a bit plain in her performance, or she's a bit in her delivery of dialogue and stuff. It's all a bit.
Well, I find, again now, in case it didn't come off in my tone of voice, I just find her so unbelievably gorgeous that I'm like, yes, it's all Gucci.
She's an attractive woman. She's a very attractive woman. You can do whatever you want, Meg.
But I find something about her, like, presence very interesting in the film. There's one or two moments where I'm like, but then she's very good in some other moments. I think she was quite young, so the performance is very uneven. She did actually win, or she was nominated for an Oscar like a few years later. Okay, yeah. So I don't think I've ever seen any other film that she was in as much as this made an impact on me.
Yeah. Because I mean, similar to the film, I didn't know that person existed. Like, you know what I mean? Genuine. I didn't know Jennifer Tilly had a sister.
Yeah. They had a very rough. She's kind of more of a novelist now. She's kind of retired from acting. Meg Tilly, Jennifer Tilly is like a poker player. This is mad. Jennifer Tilly was like a professional poker player, and she was married to, or was in a relationship with, Sam Simon, the Simpsons guy. Yeah. So she makes tons of money from the Simpsons. It's like the fucking lives these people lead.
No, it's unbelievable.
Unbelievable, yeah. But Meg Tilly's kind of become a novelist and apparently quite good. I was reading up on her, like apparently some of the books are very good. Anyway, to take it back to the film, just to start off, there's a really nice touch and a kind of a showing of, so the opening scene in a courtroom is, they do start off with the shower scene from the Psycho, which is a bold move, but I think it pays off.
Yeah, it does, yeah. Because I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not sure how big VHS was, or whatever it was, whatever the technology was at the time. So you have to remember that most people anybody who saw the original hasn't seen it in 20 years. Yeah. Realistically, or maybe it was reruns on telly.
I think there were reruns on telly, and then they would apparently show older films in the cinema more often back then. Okay, I honestly don't. In the USA, apparently that was common. In Ireland, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if I'd call it a bold move. I'd just say it's like last week on Psycho. Do you know what I mean? It's a recap. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, I was reading about it and someone said it actually fits in well because that's the catalyst for what starts this. It's the murder of that person that motivates, who are essentially if not the villains, the antagonists in this film. So it does make some kind of sense.
100%. Yeah.
So there's a courtroom scene there where he's released, and there's a really nice touch of the Vera Miles character. Her name?
Lila Loomis.
But
Formerly
she changed her
Lila
name.
Crane.
Yeah. She's like going up to the judge and she's like, I have a petition here. And there's a great little moment where she's like amped up and she's anxious. And she kind of drops it, so she has to kind of catch it. There's this little awkward moment, like she's so angry. And it's just a little more effort than she just walks up and says and she comes off as like this kind of crazy person.
And it should be pointed out as well, she's a fantastic actress, Vera Miles.
Very good, yeah.
Very, very good. Mm-hmm. And like, because I went, Vera Miles is in it. So obviously it's going to be, it's going to be faithful to the original and what have you. Like, there's continuity here.
Yeah.
But I have to be honest with you, when I first saw her in the courtroom, I didn't recognise her. I didn't go, that's Vera Miles. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is just a nice kind of a touch that they don't draw attention to in a way that I feel like they kind of would today.
She doesn't turn around and go, I'm Lila Crane and my sister was murdered by this man. They don't make it, but that leads into the trajectory of the film. It's kind of twisty and turny, and
you don't really know. Stuff you
so
don't.
the fact it's probably because I mean obviously if you've recognised Vera Miles then you recognise her, but I didn't in that situation. So I was like, who the fuck is this woman? Like, do you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And then but that adds then as the story starts to unfold. You're like, yeah. Do you know what I mean?
There's a lot of then there's another good scene. So they leave and the judge is just like, look, this has nothing to do with Anton. As the district attorney explained this to you. They leave. They chose, and they do something quite, I don't know if it was clever at the time, but now in hindsight with the way his career went, Robert Loggia is playing, like, he's known for playing these lunatic characters, especially like Lost Highway, there's a really famous scene. Here he's playing like the most level-headed, kind of quiet voice, like kind of guy. And there's a great overlapping bit of dialogue where she's not listening to him and he's trying to explain, like, he is like, Norman was not found guilty. Yeah. He was found not guilty by reason of insanity. He's just so much of a right. And she's talking and not listening, but you hear everything that he says. It's really nice timing.
Yeah.
It's just very well done. And you see the opposing points of view. But what is amazing is I found watching it, you're just on Norman's side immediately. I can't explain how they pulled
that.
But
not only that, because obviously you see like the kind of back and forth between Dr. Raymond and Lila. My eyes didn't leave Anthony Perkins. And I'm listening, like, it didn't, I understood what was going on. But I had no, and I think that was probably what Richard Franklin wanted. Because I had no interest in looking at them arguing. I could hear them. And I just was looking at him and he's just kind of like a deer in headlights type. And but you're just looking at him and you're like, how can you be saying these things about this sweet man? Like, do you know what I mean? And that's just pure. That's not even performance. That's just presence that he's bringing.
He was
do you know what I mean?
Well, to be fair, for why, like, it is still impressive that they made him sympathetic so quickly. But even in the first film, it was never under any doubt. Like, he is insane. Like, he is. It was somehow like you didn't ever feel like because it was a split personality thing. So I think maybe that was for an audience just going, well, he feels like the influence of his mother and all this. Like, there is just something to, like, you always got the sense like he isn't really a bad lad. You know, he has
mad. His problems. He has his problems,
but not bad. You know,
suffers with his nerves.
Yeah,
as we'd
but
say.
Like, she is voicing like a concern that a lot of people have, which is, you know, like she says, like, this is the era as well of Death Wish and all this. You know, like, don't the victims have any say? You're protecting him and not us. And you're like, in another film, you'd be like, yeah, fuck yeah, Charlie. You know, and in this film, you're like, calm down now.
Just leave him now. Right? You get back in your box.
Poor fella. Like,
leave him alone. Look at him. Just look at him.
Yeah. Now, a lot of people, I don't know if you picked up on this, and they do have some lip service to it, but I read some reviews that were like, come on, like, they wouldn't just put him back in the house. They wouldn't just do this. They wouldn't. I never had any. It I never had no issue with my mind.
No, it did kind of like, because I mean, when he returns home and Dr. Raymond, how do you pronounce his name? Loggia?
Loggia. I think it's Loggia. Yeah.
I always just said Loggia.
Yeah, I think it's Loggia. I don't.
Robert Loggia. But he does mention it like, oh, I'm so sorry about the cutbacks. They would have normally they'd have a social worker checking you every day, you know. Yeah. So I kind of went, okay, right. So they
pay lip service to it, which is fine. That, like, him check it.
I didn't have an issue with him going back to the house now, but I did. It did cross my mind. Like, well, I mean, why would you go back there?
This seems a bit dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, like,
and even the fact, because when they arrive back and they look up in the window and he goes, there's someone in the window.
Yeah, I was surprised how quickly they started with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and wouldn't the doctor be like, "Oh fuck"?
Yeah. No, because
I backed the wrong horse here.
No, but even that, it makes sense. Because obviously, right, he may be a healed man, but the wounds are there. Do you know what I mean? So he's nervous and he's overthinking, and so it does make sense. Oh, the curtain moved. There's someone in the window. You can kind of and you can kind of understand then why Dr. Raymond is like, oh, there hasn't been a tenant for years. You're grand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like the completely realistic film where he is in a halfway house, or there is like that's not what this is a melodrama basically.
Yeah, we're not doing that here.
Yeah, so they're hitting for me it's a perfect level of
and just
where else would he go?
The iconic house.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
For fuck's sake,
and that's the same house that's in the original.
Apparently, yeah, they
had to rebuild the motel.
Yeah, it was on a backlot or something at Universal, so people were driving by. I want to say I saw like a mock-up of that when I was in Universal Studios in Florida. So it wouldn't be the actual one, but I want to say it was. I wonder now, because that was 25 years ago. So they had this is Universal, they had a whole Hitchcock area. I wonder if that's still there anymore, because he still seems to have a fair cultural cachet. But at the time,
he would, yeah.
Well, like Tarantino was saying, he's still well regarded now, but in 1980 it was even more so.
Yeah, he was almost myth-like, apparently. That's the quote, I think.
Things are kind of, I don't know, I find people know the movie Psycho, like a lot of the students, and they're like, oh, they know the movie, but they don't know Hitchcock. But then you know, they're not from English speaking countries, so maybe younger kids now. But he was such a big name when we were younger, anyway. So I don't know, but it's very just nicely done. And then they've gotten him a job in a diner, which I thought that was a nice touch, that they kind of move on from that fairly quickly. But I kind of like that.
Because obviously, as we said, it's like a bit of lip service paid, but if you dwell on it too long, well, then that becomes an issue, and then you're like, then you start arguing in your own head instead of taking in what they're saying. You're like, well, no, actually, hang on, they wouldn't do that. If you so mention it, briskly move on. And
exactly. Have a throwaway line of dialogue, but he goes to work in the diner. They need some way for him to meet the Meg Tilly character. So she,
and again, I just have to point out here, even watching him interacting with people, because he meets the manager of the front of house, and they're having a discussion. She's like, "Oh, it's the Christian thing to do, and to forgive and forget." No,
yeah, he's brilliant in that moment. He's so big, but he's just perfect.
Because and I'm sure this was a directing choice. The way it's shot, he towers over. The manager.
He was very, very. He was a tall man.
I know he was a tall man, anyway, but it's noticeable here, and you just see how meek he is, because even though he should be this big towering figure, and he's just like, oh yeah, totally.
He's so subservient. But the way he plays, like he's very big, but there's something perfect. It's like, I'm Norman. Yeah. Norman Bates. And you're like, oh, you poor guy. Poor fucking guy.
It's so true, man. Like,
I know, you can't help but feel. But the only thing I think in terms of plot for the film is, and I understand why they did it, we won't spoil anything yet, but the person he's talking to, I feel they don't emphasize her enough. Because I'll go back to the first time I saw it and confusion I had at a certain point. But so he's introduced, and your one who's a waitress there, the one who isn't Meg Tilly, is a complete arsehole. And then the boss seems all right. He's just busy. He's just kind of put upon, which I like. There's kind of depth to him. He's like really annoyed at Meg Tilly, but the rest of the time he's like, all right, yeah. But he gives her the morning off at a certain point. Like there's just a little more.
He's just because the manager, the front of house manager, character I can't remember the name, but
she becomes significant later on. Let's say,
but she mentions, we're just going into rush hour. He's really nice normally, like, do you know what I mean? So it makes sense, like, and he's not chewing anybody out, like he's frustrated and
he's reasonable. He's like, fuck, I'm busy. Like, let me give me a break here. And so we're introduced to Meg Tilly, and she's on the phone to her quote unquote boyfriend, arguing with him and all this. And she does just seem like this young one who has nothing figured out and like a bit of an idiot and all this. But I think, and this is very clever writing, she breaks something and Norman takes responsibility for it. And what's revealed later on, I think that's important for like where she eventually goes in the story. And again, it just sets it up like, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He always seemed like he genuinely was a good guy even in the first one. He was just, he couldn't kind of help himself. So again, you just buy into it.
Like, I mean, we'll try not constantly jump back to the first one, but like in that scene where they're having the conversation in the parlor room of the office, and you hear the discussion he has with his mother, and you're like, it makes sense. It's like, that woman's a bitch. Do you know what I mean? She's you can tell she's overburdened, she's controlling, she's all these things. And then so then you kind of, because in that moment then you go, you sympathise with him a bit. Now obviously at this stage we don't know what he is in the first one, but you do kind of go, okay, right.
Yeah. When you saw the first one, did you know there was no mother and that she was dead?
I can't remember.
I always knew. I remember always knowing because a friend of mine was still someone I talked to very regular, but I remember in secondary school him saying, I fucking watched that Psycho last night. I had no idea. Like, for him, the twist landed like it did in 1960, and I was so fucking jealous because I was like,
that would have been amazing.
I fucking knew that.
And because obviously it's a woman's voice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which it's not Anthony Perkins putting on a voice, which adds to the.
Yeah.
See, that's a good question. I genuinely can't remember if I knew before.
I remember enjoying it, even though I was kind of young. But I knew well, like,
because I mean, I think I saw that. I think I saw Psycho Force 10 years ago, maybe.
Okay, that you probably would.
I probably would have known by then.
Oh, to have seen it complete, like to not know that she died.
Imagine seeing it in the cinema, the Force.
That would have been amazing. Yeah, no wonder it was such a fucking iconic kind of a thing. Oh Jesus! Even now, after knowing rewatching it, it still stands up. But to have seen it fresh, like, that must have been something. Yeah. So
Meg Tilly.
The development, Meg Tilly. I think Meg Tilly, you could nearly make an argument, is kind of the main character at some point in the film.
Yeah.
So I gotta give them credit for making it just the way they hit it. I remember watching going, something's up with this one. Yeah. But you're not quite sure. Yeah.
See, the thing is, you're not quite sure if there's something up with her. You don't think she has any. I didn't feel that. She's malevolent towards Norman.
Yeah,
didn't get that whatsoever. But I did. I know what you're saying. I did get the kind of feeling like there's something.
Yeah, because it's
with the boyfriend and the.
Yeah, the film is so. Be it believable, and then the way she behaves, you're like, come on now.
Yeah.
No, like, young one, even if she didn't know the backstory.
Yeah. Like, so Norman invites her to the motel because her boyfriend's kicked her out, and they arrive after like some kind of convincing on Norman's behalf. Again, you're kind of like, just go with him.
Is it there or is it later where he basically says, what if I said I need you to stay?
That's later.
And you do just kind of go like, you just feel like, the poor guy.
That's
like,
a walking red flag though. Like, you know what I mean? That's
Andrew Tate tell you not to say that.
Yeah.
I suppose.
You're not a man.
Yeah, well, it does. But you so completely believe him, but at the same time, you're like, dude, don't.
So they arrive back at the motel, and he's offered her the motel. This is before they get to the house.
Yeah.
And then we meet Mr. Toomey, who's running the motel.
The amazing Dennis Franz.
I think he's fantastic in this.
He's brilliant in everything, but he's so good.
He's really good.
As a sleazy fucking scumbag. Yeah.
But see, the thing is, and again, probably direction choice, but it's performance based. It's because when you first meet him, you don't go, what a sleazeball. But he switches. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's actually quite deferential to Norman at first.
Yeah, and then
like, this is the guy.
Once Norman starts getting antagonistic towards him, then he completely turns. And then when we meet him again, it's like, you are a knacker.
Yeah. He was putting on a show for him.
Yeah.
There's some nice stuff going on there where she is quite insistent because Norm's like, go up to the house. And he has to tell her like 3 times.
Yeah, do it now.
Yeah, he actually says, just do what I say, okay?
Yeah. And again, and I watched this with my missus, and she went, I wouldn't my arse going up to that house. Like, what is going on here? Like, do you know what I mean?
That's what you mean. Yeah.
Like, she goes, like, no way, because she even said, is this different for you, a man watching this, than it is for a woman? Because there's no way in hell that I wouldn't go back to the motel, let alone after everything he's saying. Like, he's a walking red flag. Like, and I was just watching it like, he's just trying to help her. Do you know what I mean?
Apparently that's something as well, because I saw another, because I was looking up, I knew Quentin Tarantino had an opinion on this, so I was looking him up on his opinion on Get Out, and it reminded me of in Get Out. Apparently black audiences watch horror films and they have basically a complete, just walk away immediately. What the fuck? It happens at the start of Get Out, because there's a character in a neighborhood he's not happy with. He's not
And
sure.
he's like, oh, no, I'm leaving.
And he sees a car that's like a little bit suspicious, and he just immediately like, yeah, I'm out of here. Whereas like, I would not have that reaction, let's say, but apparently for certain audiences,
I need a 17-year-old blonde girl in a slasher film. It's
exactly,
like, let me get into the car with you. Like.
That's what I mean. Like, even for a man, you're like, come on.
No, but black people too, white people.
Yeah.
Like, white people logically.
I didn't really like it, but there's a great bit in the follow-up he did, Us, where I forget, but she goes, oh, I didn't lock the door or something like this. And the husband goes, what kind of white shit is that?
But that type of shit just breaks me heart that we have culture war grifters that can't see the fun side of that.
I know, yeah.
And just say, oh, how can they get away with it? I should be able to use the N-word. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. There is starting to be more pushback about that, but we'll leave that to other YouTube channels to point out. We could be here for hours. Like, but I kind of, you see a different side of Norman. Like, he is like, this is my fucking hotels, because Toomey is essentially, and he is kind of like, what
else am I going to do?
What can you do? And as you say, it's only when he's really put up to him then you see his true colours.
Yeah. So obviously Norman goes in to inspect the room and he finds drug paraphernalia.
Yeah, so for him, the reason he invites her up to the house is kind of plausible. Like, look, I completely take him at this point. Like, why the fuck would she go along with this? And then later she actually says, someone told me what you're about. Like, like, oh, fuck me.
But no. Well, to be fair, she says she's told that he was locked up. Mm-hmm. She's not told why.
Oh, okay. I remember she said I heard them talk about you. I think he actually just tells her.
Because that happens in the next scene where they go up to the kitchen.
Well, then it all becomes very obvious later. But that is a great scene where he doesn't want to use the knife on the sandwich and all this. Yeah. And they find out later what she's up to, but she's like, no, there must be a knife somewhere.
Yeah. And the way I always noticed that now, it's in hindsight, but which I won't spoil. But the way that knife is placed in that drawer was clearly placed by someone. That wasn't someone just throwing it in after washing it.
It's a brand new knife compared to all the rest of them. There's something up. And they haven't. Again, there's this special edition box set. There's a few commentaries and like, wouldn't they have just completely cleared out the house? And like, didn't even enter into my mind.
Not once. Not once.
Like, if it's not the house as he remembers it, just a little older, like, then what's the point of the film?
That's the thing. But it's a testament to good storytelling, because not once did I go, oh well, all the furniture would be gone. Not once.
Yeah, no.
And the fact that later on we can kind of they're in the fruit cellar or whatever, and everything is still there, perfect. Now we find out why, but still the fact that everything is still there, like that's where he used to keep his ma when people would knock around. Like, do you know what I mean?
Jesus, when you think about the legit, it's like Jesus Christ. So there's that scene where he goes, I don't have any cutlery, because he doesn't want to say the word. Apparently that was an improv, or like Tony Perkins did that somehow in the rehearsal. I was like, oh, nice. Yeah. Because it just speaks, it's larger than life, yet it's still in the realm of believability. Yeah. And she lets herself be, she is quite pushy on like, no, I'm not going to stay. And she makes him like basically because at the end, I need you to stay, please. I'm scared and I'm nervous.
And that was Mandy's red flag number 2. Get out of that house.
Yeah, say you're going to the Jacks.
Yeah, just slip out the window.
If you want to socially acceptable, the Irish goodbye. As we say. Yeah. I mean, when you find out, it does again help with the story development later on, where you tend to go, oh, okay, yeah. That all kind of comes together. So we're back to the diner the next day. So he's fired your man, and this is where things kind of amp up, and you know, the slight horror aspect kind of thing,
and the more psychological kind of aspects of it.
There's a lot going on. She's a bit late, but Dennis Franz shows up and is brilliant. He's like, I wanted a piece of what Norman had last night, and you see a bit of her character, because he's like, no, she says, just because two people slept under the same roof doesn't mean that they made love, which I don't even know if in 1982 young people said that, but let's let them away with it. But he goes, no, I don't think so. And she goes, you want to know, he's better than you'll ever be, fat boy. Like, who is this girl? Like, there's an edge to her. Like, I really like that. But there's a great moment.
But Dennis Franz's face when she calls him fat boy, it's like all the power leaves his face.
It's such a great actor. That guy. He's been in fuck all. I've seen him in. He's in load of stuff, but like what I've seen, this Die Hard 2, where he's brilliant, and NYPD Blue, and I haven't really seen him in anything.
I didn't even realise that this is the fella from Die Hard 2, the cop.
Yeah, the cop,
Oh, no.
Oh, jeez, I saw that in the cinema. They did a re-release of it, and I was the only one, but I was laughing my ass off, like, everything he said. He's just so fucking. He is so.
He has a great delivery. He's great cadence. Like
he does.
Yeah,
He hasn't done anything in years. I assume he made tons of money. He's like 80 something now, so he's probably retired. But he's very sorely missed. That kind of an actor. Yeah. You see then, this is where it becomes obvious it's a horror film. There's a very effective moment where Norman, he's given a note as if by his mother saying, keep that little slut out of my house or whatever, which is the kind of notes his mother used to leave him. So he's all amped up in the way, Toomey, I think is the character's name, talking to Meg Tilly. So he drops something into the oil and it burns the chef's arm. And just the way, there's like a cut to an overhead angle.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the guy's been killed and it's just like, but it really jumps you out of it. You're like, oh shit, Norman's in trouble, and it's just a great little touch.
But the building of tension here, because obviously, like, you have a sequel to a film made by the master of suspense. So the way this scene builds, it's up to a fever pitch to the point where he knocks off the fryer and burns the guy. Is like you're like, oh. Because the way it's cutting between, so it's Dennis Franz, Meg Tilly, then it's him chopping, then it's his face, then the pacing of it is, because it really puts you in it. Oh, something's.
Yeah, and everything individually is suggestive, but everything but the way it builds up to, like, because it's not a kill, it's like, oh shit, he's in trouble at work now, and he bursts through the door, and there's like a night, and then they're like, go on, loony, you psycho.
Oh yeah, because obviously there's a cake on the table next to him, and he looks down and sees the knife, and he goes, yeah, go on, pick it up.
Psycho, and he's like, do you know you got work in here? He's so fucking great, that as well. Yeah. So I think at this stage, Meg Tilly has said, oh, I'm going to move in to someone in town, but she says, no, I think I'll stay with you. So she's back. But we see, this is, I think, the first kill in the film with Dennis Franz. Yeah. So he's back packing up his shit. And Norman thinks I did wonder about, like, if Norman thinks Toomey is calling and pretending to be his mother, like, how good of a vocal impressionist is the Toomey character? He has like the most masculine, like, he's Dennis Franz's voice. And I'm like, how would that sound if he's putting on a woman's voice? I can't imagine it'd be too convincing, you know? But the kill is kind of a throwback to the private investigator kill in the first one, because he's kind of slashed across the face, even though it's obviously more explicit this time. And
the makeup here though, because obviously he has a prosthetic on.
Yeah.
Before the knife is, and it's clearly not his skin or anything. You know what I mean? Like,
well, you know, like, okay, there's a kill coming up. It's actually, this is what I mean. There was a comment on a previous video he did saying, oh, that's the charm of it, of the low budget or whatever. I find that stuff kind of charming, because I'm like, oh, good, it's a prosthetic effect, and look, I can notice that it is, but it's okay. It's just, it's entertaining.
And I didn't go, I'm not watching the rest of this film.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Nothing like that, like.
Yeah.
But it was just, I just thought it was funny because he turns around and his face is clearly slightly larger.
Yeah, it's larger, and it's like, oh, you melted a bit there, didn't you? And I think because this is a really nice box set from Arrow, so it's the 4K one. I think on that you can't see the fishing lines that they'd used to rip it off and all that, but doesn't. But I way prefer. I know this is a cliche. I prefer that to, you know, kind of a. I can imagine there might be an amazing CGI version that I would be like, okay, that's how you should do it. But typically they wouldn't be that amazing. It'd be, okay, that'd be better. If I prefer this to bad CGI. I prefer a slightly hinky practical effect.
And so, it is like one thing, and again, it's coming back to Dennis Franz. As he slashed, the noise that he makes, it's fantastic, because it's almost like he starts and then it goes down as he's getting, and it's just brilliant.
Yeah. He actually, to be fair, like, he looms kind of larger over the film than he's not. He's in it for like 3 scenes or something like that. But he's very, very memorable in it. I wouldn't have forgotten he was in it if you know what I mean. Yeah, against people like that are very sorely missed, I find, in modern day films. But so he's gone, and then I think Norman goes down fairly quickly, and it's been tidied up. You know, which you could maybe say the practicality of it. Isn't this around the time he spies on Meg Tilly in the shower? Or is that the first night she stayed over?
No, I think it's the second night. The
second night, yeah. That is, much to my disappointment, that is not Meg Tilly whom we see in the nude. Not? No. The nude parts, no, it's not her.
Oh.
I know, yeah, it's terrible, isn't it? Can I, just to sidetrack on Meg Tilly, terribly attractive woman. That's all I got to say on that. No, it's not her naked in the shower scene. It's a body double.
Okay.
So, well. Good body. It's a very...
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, good to see. Yeah, so obviously that's... I think that's kind of what Tarantino is getting at, where he says the original one, he's hamstrung by the demands of the day. Like, Hitchcock, I think it's fair to say, would have had nudity in his films and all this. Like, he was pushing
he's
things.
So close in the original.
I know, yeah, I was
like,
watching at the start of this one, I was like, Jesus, they really push it. Like, I mean, she's very obviously... I mean, I know it sounds stupid because she's taking a shower, but the way they film it, like, it's not... It's showing as much as they possibly can.
Yeah. Even to the point, there's one of the shots where she's like this, and the only thing covering her breast is her arm.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like,
there's stuff like that in there. Yeah, so he was pushing things like he wouldn't. Have, that's why I mean some of the like the Dennis Franz kill actually would fit in. Just maybe would have been too much for the 60s, but it's very. Some of the other ones are obviously pushing things a bit, but I think not in a terrible way. Like in the only one, the one in the... We'll get to the knife in the mouth. Now, I suppose, yeah.
Obviously, there's something afoot. And at this stage of the film, we kind of know that there's something afoot.
Yeah.
Did you believe that it was Norman spying on her automatically?
I remember even watching it this time and going, I just assumed it was, yeah. I just assumed it was him.
See, I suppose in retrospect, it's great. Now, when I watched it, I went, but hang on, is he not downstairs? Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But then again, I was looking, well, the practicality of it isn't always perfect, like, because how quick he gets from the thing, and Dennis Franz has disappeared. And
yeah. Like, if I remember the first time I saw it, I did assume it wasn't him, like, the whole time. I can't quite remember exactly like what I thought was going on. I think I was just kind of going along with it, and I wasn't really thinking of like what's this and what's that. Because ultimately the solution is not something I think that you could figure out from the film. But I do remember like just being intrigued of like, yeah, what is going on? And like you kind of just go along with his story. Like it's a kind of a character driven film, you know?
Initially when I watched it, I went, oh no. Oh no.
Poor Norman.
Oh man.
Yeah. Well, there is a few bits later on that strain a bit of credibility where like someone goes to the police. So the biggest kind of tip of the hat to the slasher thing at the time was two horny teenagers break into the basement and one of them is killed and the other survives. Goes to the cops and says, my friend was murdered in this basement, and the cops don't immediately arrest him. Like, go on, fucking get back. Like, you kind of go along with it well enough because they do go down and search and there's no evidence and they're like, okay, I forget how they play that off. I think they say, like, these fucking kids or whatever.
We'll say, yeah, because Vernon Moyles goes and says, the news about that boy is all over town. Why is he not arrested? Yeah. And he goes, we'll see if he comes home later.
Exactly.
These pesky kids. Like,
yeah, that cop is played off as fairly sympathetic to Norman, I feel, because there's that scene where Robert Loggia and him, where Loggia goes to him and he's like,
look after him.
Yeah, if we keep an eye on him, I think there's something up. And they again, just nice little deed. The guy who wrote this, Tom Holland, very talented guy. He made that movie Fright Night. He directed that as well. Very, very, like, he's just very talented guy. Like that scene, like the sheriff is like, I'd really rather be having my lunch than having this conversation, but he isn't unsympathetic at the same time. And there's just nice little touches. He was actually one of the, in the story, he's one of the deputies who arrested Norman like on that night, which I thought that's another nice kind of touch, you know? And they don't play it off as like, I was there. He's just like, I was there. I was one of the people. And it makes sense.
Now, was that small town. How far have we jumped ahead there?
I think we're about coming up on midway in the film there. Yeah, so Dennis Franz, and then he quits his job at the diner. Like Meg Tilly has just moved into the gap at this stage. Which they do have great chemistry. I kind of like them as a double act. Like the way they kind of complement off of each other.
And the thing that I like, because we've often spoke about age gaps in romance and all this, you never get that feeling.
No, there's not even a hint of it,
And I'm so happy for that. Because obviously, like Norman is most likely a virgin. He's not, do you know what I mean? He wouldn't know what to do with it in any way. But he just needs the companionship. He's not looking for love, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it kind of had to be a woman in a weird way because you need that, not the maternal instinct, but kind of a softer kind of a thing. But yeah, there is no hint of it. You don't even think, like, you can kind of go like, you look at it like your missus looked at it kind of going like, come on now, what do you think the guy's after? But as an audience watching it, you know, rewatching it, especially knowing where everything goes, you're like, oh yeah, he's just, he needs someone to, he just doesn't seem interested in that kind of a thing. Although obviously part of the key to his psychology is he, that's in there somewhere.
So here we see him revamping the motel. He's painting, and this is one issue that I had. Probably my only big issue with it, and it's something so minor. It's nothing to do with plot. It's nothing to do with that. But as he's painting, there's nothing coming off the paintbrush. He's just rubbing the brush.
I kind of half noticed that, but I was more like, geez, it'll take him forever to make that fucking thing. Yeah, I actually did find myself going like, would you not just, how much would it cost to pay someone to do that?
Well, I was looking, but I had the same feeling as well. I was like, you're doing it with a bleeding brush, like.
Yeah, it'll take you fucking forever. Yeah, and like to be fair to me, mate, because in the first film, the reason no one goes there anymore is because it's off the highway. Yeah. So like, who's
Timmy's made it into a bustling business, like.
Yeah, like fair play to the guy. Yeah, and I do the only thing, and I wonder was there a deleted scene because Lo just shows up. And he says to Meg Tilly, I think her character's name's Mary, or if she's calling herself.
Well, he hasn't
Mary.
met her yet.
Yeah, but he says, I can give you a lift into town. And I kind of miss that we don't have a scene between those two where he's driving and kind of like, so what's up? What are you?
Yeah.
Now, watching the film, it didn't really bother me. But when he said, I'll give you a lift, I was kind of looking forward to that scene. And I don't know whether they shot it and it just didn't work out, or ultimately for the plot, it didn't really need to be there because it's just kind of suspicious.
And again, Anthony Perkins, the kicked puppy.
Yeah.
Is explaining, oh no, it's not like that.
Yeah.
It's like, no, she's just my friend. And he's smiling and it's like, oh.
Yeah. The poor guy, yeah. Well, we know well, like, there is nothing going on.
Yeah.
Anyone else is going to be like, come here now. You expect me to believe that? Like, yeah. So then I think it's after that actually Loja has to chat with the cop because he was suspicious about that.
Yeah.
So we come then to the kind of killing of the teenagers, and so Norman, like, someone's obviously playing games with him, so they've completely revamped his mother's room to the way it was.
Which it should be pointed out was completely barren and just all.
Yeah, it was.
Not barren, sorry, it was all
like
covered over the phone.
It was all covered up. So it's back the way, and he's just.
It's exactly how my mother had it.
Yeah, it is a great performance because you can see half of him is shocked and the other half of him is kind of like the madness of this is real, right?
Yeah.
Great.
So well played. Yeah.
And he's lured up to the attic. Is it like a note or something?
No, I believe. Is it not? I don't think it's a sound that he hears, but.
Excuse me. I think he hears a sound.
Yeah. And then, so he
goes up and he gets locked in, and again, plausibly, like, so the idea is on the filmmaker's part that we should think it's possible it's him because he's locked in, and we just kind of have, like, are we just seeing things the way he sees them? Because then this is where the two horny teenagers. This is I remember even the first time I saw it, I remember thinking, okay, this is a bit slasher movery.
But they had to do, given the brand of horror that was coming out at the time.
Yeah.
They had to insert something.
Yeah, and to be fair, like, it plays in, like, it becomes a plot point. You know?
And it's not just so the girl can get naked or not, like it is in a lot of slashers. Like, how many slashers open with some chick with her breasts out and then she just gets cut up, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
so they're sneaking into this. Actually, and Toomey had mentioned it before. I had to stop two teenagers from screwing in your or banging or something in your basement there. Can you believe that? As if Toomey wouldn't be fucking well into that.
Yeah.
There is actually, it's an effective kind of a scene. There's a very nice cut in it where someone is around with a knife, like someone dressed like Norman's mother has a knife. There's a very effective cut I found where it just cuts to behind that figure with the knife out, like creeping up on the guy, and it's really like very visceral. Like it is a little slashery than the kind of Hitchcock thing they were going for, but it's still very good all the same.
There's kind of like steady cam before she and the figure who's dressed as Norman's mother. The way it's kind of real, like she's hunched over, and it's like she's like, I can't do it on camera. I'll try.
Yeah.
But like the way she's moving is like,
you know
what I mean?
She's kind of locked into a certain position. Yeah, but that's again what makes it kind of an effective cut in that moment.
Yeah, there is a great shot though as they're peering out the door, and so the figure is about to walk up the stairs, and she stops and looks.
Yeah, no, I have to give them credit for the way they do stuff like that, like the mother figure. They did it very well, obviously, in the first film, but even like, and I hate to sound wanky, but like even on the new 4K, it's like there's a shot of her at the
4K.
window. I know, yeah. And it's still, it just looks like a faraway figure you can't quite make out. You're like, who is it? It's never obvious, oh, it must be this person or it must be. Now, it probably wasn't a person who was in the film, so it wouldn't give it away. But it is always kind of obscure enough that you're like, what is going on? Like, who really is that? It's not obvious.
And it really, because at this point, the story really gets you into the, like, what is going on? Like, I'm sick of it now. Just tell me.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Not in a bad way. Like, not in a...
Because, well, you're assuming it's not him.
Yeah.
But you're like, well, what is really going on? Like, and is he really locked in there? Is it somehow actually still him and he just doesn't know about it? I remember watching and just thinking it wasn't him, though, yeah.
Because this is obviously, so one of the teens are killed, the one escapes, and then Meg Tilly returns home and he just opens the door and it's open.
Yeah.
And
which was a nice touch.
Yeah. And he'd been asleep. And there's a really, really, I'd almost say heart-wrenching moment where he goes, it's happening again now.
It's happening again.
Yeah. And he mentions that, I used to black out. Like,
yeah, and it's nearly at this point where he starts to really, like, you can see the madness creeping in.
Yeah,
like he's like, it's happening again, but there's a part of him that's kind of surrendering to it, and it's all unspoken. It's just the way that he plays it. Yeah. And this is a significant point as well, for especially because it's revealed she lies to the police for him. The police show up and say, what's going on? And she says, he was with me. And
she also says that she cleaned the cellar.
Yes.
Because Norman explains, well, I haven't been here in this room since I've been back. And he goes, well, someone's keeping it up. Oh, I did it last week.
And the cops ask her like 2 or 3 times, like, yeah, it was you. And she's like, oh yeah, it was me. And like, what can you say? Yeah. She's telling you she did it, yeah. So this is where...
There's also another funny bit where the other deputy calls Norman out and he goes, why is this open? And he goes, I don't know. You should put a padlock on it before someone robs you.
Someone robbed you blind, of all the stuff going on, yeah. So there is the scene then where Lila Loomis, the Vera Miles character, complains to why aren't you arrested him? He's like, well, we have to follow laws here. He'll probably just show up. This is where we find out the first twist, which is she kind of, I forget how they do it, but she kind of surprises Meg Tilly's character.
Yeah, so they're looking... Meg Tilly says you should have one of my famous Irish coffees because that's what everybody having a nervous breakdown should have is alcohol.
Yeah,
but she goes, maybe Toomey had a bottle down in the office, so she goes down to the office and that's where Vera Miles appears. Yeah. And I love the way it's done because she kind of surprises her and then she just goes, mother,
like,
and it's like, oh, and but I literally, when I said that, I was like, oh, like I was literally like, oh, now I know what's going on. Now from this point, I went, well, it's obviously Vera Miles has gone mad and she'll do anything to get him recommitted. So I was like, I figured it out. I figured it all out. Like, little did I know.
Yeah, clever, yeah, because you're like, oh, okay, it just makes everything make sense because the Meg Tilly character has been acting very strangely. Yeah. As much as they made some effort to make it plausible.
And then, but could you kind of go then, like all the red flags my missus was talking about, she goes, okay, so she knew.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, I'd wonder now, is it the kind of thing that would nearly backfire? Like, would some people, like the female part of the audience, just kind of check out and just like, I'm not giving this film any time? Well, to me, it's plausible enough. Like
it didn't in Mandy's case, and I'll tell you our opinions on it afterwards.
Good. But yeah, it is just it's a clever twist, and it makes everything very logical.
Happens just after the midway point, so you're kind of like, whoa. And there's another, how long left?
I know.
Do you know what I mean? It's it's almost like, oh, this is about to get good, even though it has been, but it's like...
Yeah. So she says, why did you lie? And this is just great, like the way she goes, he couldn't have been him, I locked him in the attic. And her mother's like, well, who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Her mother could not give a shit. Well, who the fuck killed those kids? She could not care.
What about your aunt and all this? Like,
yeah, or he actually did kill the kids and they don't enter into her fucking thinking.
She doesn't care.
Yeah.
But there's a great line here as well where she goes, Norman needs me. And she goes, Norman needs you.
Yeah.
And it's just so well played. And she goes, he's going to kill you. He'll kill. And here's one issue that I had. She's screaming out the door at him. Now.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't.
From up in the house, Meg Tilly could hear the argument with Dennis Franz. How come Norman can't hear No, I know he's going through it in the kitchen, but
yeah, well,
do you know
we'll
what I
just
mean?
have to chalk that up to a bit of a contrivance. Yeah,
Yeah.
I will say, I want to say, was it Roger Ebert? But I read a contemporary review, and they didn't like the fact that Vera Miles's character was this hysterical, kind of angry person, which was such a change from the original. I just thought that was really clever. I guess you could kind of say
she's turned bitter in her.
yeah. I don't know what to say, because it is the kind of thing I can imagine, because you hear a lot of this nowadays, maybe right or wrongly, but like a lot of your YouTube commenters going like, oh, this is a betrayal of such and such of a character.
Yeah, but I don't think so. I think that made perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
Because obviously she's done for the past 20 odd years is think about the murder of her sister. And also then that obviously, because you can imagine like to put a real life turn on it, like that'd be in the papers that Norman Bates is getting out long before he does. And that could drive someone mad. Like, and how can they let him out?
In the original, she was very, pushy, and she was like, "No, we're going to keep checking this. We're going to investigate this." The private investigator didn't show up. I didn't ever watch them to check that, but to be honest, like her character in the original didn't make a massive impression on me. So
it has to be said though as well. Is from the time it was 50s into the 60s, like. Everybody was kind of cool, calm, collected. Even if someone was losing their shit, they were still cool. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I just have to say, okay, that's your take on it. I had no problem with it.
For me personally, I thought it made complete logical sense that she would turn into this kind of bitter, crazy woman.
Yeah, and like as well, her husband has died, so she married the guy
Samuel Loomis.
Yeah. Who Marion was involved with and so on. I just thought it was grand. I had no. She is the antagonist of the film. Whether you call her the villain or not, I think it would actually be fair to call her kind of the villain.
Yeah, you would because you don't want her to succeed.
Yeah, and to a lesser extent, Meg Tilly is. Norman is definitely he is the main character as much as sometimes Meg Tilly is kind of making choices and she's given a lot of dimension and all this. He is the main character and he's like so put upon, the poor fucking guy. They're definitely, as I say, they're antagonistic.
Once there is a real sense, once we find out the twist that the mother and daughter and they have a campaign to drive him crazy.
Well, there
is a moment where I don't know about you, maybe it's my misogynistic tendencies, I don't know, but there was a moment where I went, fucking Norman, do them both. Bury them in the swamp. Bury them. You do it, and I'll forgive you.
They'll be giving them what they want.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I have to take my hat off how successful it was that it's completely believable that Meg Tilly has come over on Team Norman at this stage. Like he's been so consistently good, and just the way he continues.
There's a really so obviously then Meg Tilly returns, and I don't know, is she putting him in the bath or the shower? They go into the toilet. Oh no, Norman goes into the toilet and flushes it.
Yes, and there's blood.
And that's that was really cool because the way he comes up out of the bath and
something was flushed down. And she does kind of go like, well, how did that get in there? Yeah. And he's like, oh, I don't know. And you're like, and he goes, it's happening again. This is where now there is one moment that I think slightly because at this point, I'm pretty sure we're getting the chronology of this right. They spend the night in the room together. And she wakes up, and Norman, who was like really losing it. Is that earlier?
No, it's after this. So it's after they find the blood-soaked towel.
I was thinking but
something does happen here. Like the phone rings.
That's right, and he starts talking and he starts going, "Yes, mother."
No, but he and it turns out because Meg Tilly's like, "No, that's my mother." But she also rings the hotel.
Fucking, we forgot that Robert Loggia tells him who they are.
Yeah.
And he very kind of softly confronts her on it. She's like cooking something, and she's just like, "Oh yeah, it was me." And you can already tell he's kind of like, I was reminded of like you hear these stories of people who like they live with someone who's like horribly abused them, and you'd be like, "Why?" And then you're like, he doesn't so need someone. I could kind of see him like, well, I'm willing to overlook all of that because who else can he talk to? Like who else can he rely on? I thought that it was unspoken essentially, but it was.
When she rings the hotel that her mother is staying in, and he goes, "No, she hasn't been back." And then it's like, okay, wait, so that's where I was locked in. I was like, I'm telling you, Mandy, I know what's happening. Like,
Yeah.
And I wrote it down on a piece of paper. And I said, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I'll show you at the end. And boy, was I
used
embarrassed.
to do that as well. When I'd watch them procedural shows, I'd be like, I'll write down the killer and we'll see if I'm right later on. Yeah. The only bit that I am like, okay, I think she'd hightail it is they spend the night in a room together and he's like
something happens here though. Is it where they think somebody's in the house, isn't it?
Yes, that's
right. And she gets a gun.
Yeah, and he sees that that's actually before he finds out who she is, because he doesn't know, because remember he goes, is that for me? And she's like, oh no, it's from town or something.
I think that's actually after them.
Yeah, geez.
I think he's already known. We're getting a bit bogged down.
We're getting fierce mixed up here. But I did think, so they spend the night in the room together and he's acting like loopy. At this stage now, he's had the phone call where he thinks it's his mother.
Yeah, his real mother.
Yeah, and she wakes up in the middle of the night and he's standing over her bed like holding a knife. And I was like, I think she'd freak out a little bit more than she is here. But I kind of go along with it at this stage. She wants the best for him and she just...
Now what happens here is exactly what happens in the conversation in the original film. Because he's looking out the window and she says the wrong thing and he turns around like this. Yeah. And that is so well played, because when that happens, that's the first time you go, Norman. No, come on.
Yeah, he starts talking about his mother in the same scene, like in a very tender way. Like, she wasn't always like that. She used to do this, and in the asylum they took all that away from me. And you're like, and it's slowly but slowly, like he's turning against his therapy, he's turning against his better nature.
And it's so slowly, because you can see in real time almost. It's everything that he's learned slowly rolling back in his head. Yeah. And it's just,
very nice writing. Yeah, it just occurred to me actually, they never mention any medication that he's on, which I think was a good, because if it's medication, then it comes down to something less.
Take your pills.
Yeah, like it's not what they're getting on the film. What they're getting at is he wants to be good.
Yeah.
As opposed to he wants to conform to like his, which in real life, don't get me wrong, absolutely, I'm all on board with all that. But for the film, like if it were a medication thing, it wouldn't be hitting the same themes, I don't think. Because it's not about him trying to be sane, it's about him trying to be good and not give in to the bad impulses. Yeah. And it does end up, as much as I was criticizing it ends up quite nicely, that scene, which again is surprising they didn't get on well. It's so tender. Like she just eventually ends up holding him and he's like, oh Jesus, God help me. And yeah, you're in trouble here, man. Jesus.
And then, so obviously we'll point out, they barricaded themselves in the room because Norman kind of gets paranoid because they go searching for whoever's in the house, and he kind of goes, oh, let's do it in the morning. Like, I don't need this smoke right now.
Yeah.
And so that's what gets them into the room. Yeah.
So then it starts building up from there. So there's a scene where Robert Loggia is following around. I think the film does expect us to think it's Vera Miles' murder. So Robert Loggia's following her, and he traces her back to the house. And this is where, so then we find out really the depth, and it really plays into who she is. And so this is where I'd imagine when you were watching with the missus, you were like, oh fuck, I backed the wrong horse.
yeah, because I honest to God, in this sequence, right, so obviously you see her entering the cellar which is, I thought was nice, where the deputy had told him to put a padlock on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And she goes in and then she removes a stone and it's Norman's.
And it's the outfit that someone who has been killing people has been wearing with a knife.
And then obviously, very quickly, she swallows knife.
Yeah, she turns around. She turns around, someone is behind her. There's a series of 3 cuts in on her face, which is kind of playing back to the shower scene in Psycho, except it zooms in on her mouth. And the slash, in case anyone hasn't seen this or forgot, the fucking guy, and I remember this very well because I was like, stabs her with a fucking huge kitchen knife right into her mouth. And it comes out
the back of her neck.
Yeah, and I found myself being happy they didn't play it that realistic.
Do you know what? This is how bad I am at backing horses, right? Yeah. At this point I went, oh, it's Dr. Raymond. What?
Oh no. Yeah. Which is logical. He's been following
but then
her,
the next shot immediately is him still outside. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh shit.
They do play that away pretty quickly.
I'm crap at this.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean?
The only thing that entered my head when they did the knife thing, I was like, I'm glad they're not playing that realistic, because I don't think that'd even kill you immediately. And I was like, I don't need to see her twitching.
Yeah.
It was so horrible. Like, Jesus Christ. It was great. That is just a great idea. I mean, I know it's kind of OTT, but the thing of like a knife in your teeth in the back of your skull.
Now, at this stage, Meg Tilly and They found Toomey's car. That's why Norman and...
No, well, they found something at the swamp. Yeah, they found Toomey's suitcase.
Yeah.
And then I did find it a little contrived. They let Norman go home. Which is like, wouldn't he? That sounds a bit... Because like they just found a guy who he had a bad relationship with shitting like a swamp. They let him go, and then the sheriff is talking to Meg Tilly, and he's like, basically, look, I know who you are. And I did like that scene. I just thought the sheriff, the way they wrote it was very good. Like, he's like, I know what you've been up to. And she's like, have we broken any laws? And he goes, no, not any that are on the books, but plenty that aren't.
Yeah.
Ones that are right and wrong. And I was like, he just seemed like, again, I can't quite explain it because obviously it's slightly contrived, so certain things can happen. But he just seemed like the kind of a guy who would be like, well, now doesn't he deserve a second chance?
Yeah.
As opposed to like your typical kind of southern sheriff who'd be like all fire and fucking brimstone and who cares if he's nuts. He did seem like a charitable kind of a guy who was like, look, I suppose realistically he's like, well, I saw the guy, he was fucking nuts. Like, I mean, there's no two ways. I just thought it shows to me like why this is a cut above that, the way they wrote that character. Yeah.
And not only that, most performances in this, everybody except Vera Miles essentially seems sympathetic towards Norman's.
True, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Every single person, which I do think
except Dennis Franz.
That's except Dennis Franz, yeah.
in the best way.
In the best way, yeah. But that's obviously a very conscious decision because it's kind of dealing with how does someone assimilate back into regular life. So is it? And it's not that everybody's playing him lip service. Just going, okay, Norman. Like, he even says that at one point. He goes, don't you or me. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yes, yeah.
And I just think that plays to great effect because that could come across as, not realistic. But it just, in terms of the overall story, it helps the audience along the way of continuing. Because at this stage, it gets really twisty turny, like, do you know what I mean? And you're like, hang on, is he actually doing it or is he not? Or is he?
Yeah, well,
do you know what I mean?
It adds everything. This is why I'd find it hard to like guess. Although I'll get into why I think the twist is a little too hard to figure out. But like when he's like, the real story is, will he go nuts? And then when he starts to do it towards the end, you're so disappointed. Like, it's like, but it seems so logical that he would. Like, the shit he's been through, like the poor guy.
What happens here? So they return back.
He's back at the house, and I think
Meg Tilly is there when they discover that Dennis Franz
is there. Yeah, and so she runs back to kind of confront him. He is up to something.
No. She comes in. They're coming. They're going to come and arrest you.
They're going to and she's like, we need to get out of it. Yeah, he's playing the piano and he's just like, oh, well, where would we go? He's just giving up at this stage. And he's like, this is just my lot in life. And she's like, this is a scene now where I think, because she has a really great scene later on. She's a little weak in this scene, I think, where she's like, oh, Norman, you are so mad. You're as mad as a hatter. And you could have... Another take on that scene might have helped. Yeah. She's a little bit flat in that scene. Yeah.
And then the phone rings.
And this is where
Anthony Perkins at his finest.
Earning his paycheck here,
man.
The way, I just love a detail. He does it twice when he picks up the phone. He has it in one ear, but then he switches to the other ear and he's like, yes, mother. And you're like, just that little physical cue, you're like, oh no.
But the tone of his voice changes. And you see him, you hear him pleading Meg Tilly's case, but she's really nice. She wouldn't do anything to hurt me. Kill her.
Yeah, and he's like, yes, I understand. You go, oh no. And then he's actually at a certain point it was because it's Robert Loggia called him up and he's like, Norman, they're calling you from here, and he thinks he's having a normal conversation and he's like, yes, mother, and he's like, Norman, oh fuck.
And that's it's very good. It's very this whole sequence is just brilliant.
And the timing of, I think Meg Tilly picks it up, and when
she goes upstairs,
when Robert Loggia hears her voice, quite understandably, he's like, oh,
because what she's done now, because obviously she's not aware that her mother's been murdered. She goes down into the basement and dresses up as his mother and stands in front of him. Say, how can I be? Your mother wouldn't very well be standing in front of you and on the phone.
And in this scene now, she is very good because she's pushed to the edge and she's like, "This is ludicrous. This is like my last."
And then she runs upstairs and gets on the other phone.
She's very good in that bit. She's crying and she's like, "Norman," and there's a great shot. They do it twice in the two of those phone calls when she's at the. yeah, she's looking down and like there's a little archway, and you can just see a tiny bit of Perkins's back.
Yeah.
And like he's there, he's right there, but you can't get through to him. Like he's not there at the same time.
And then this is fantastic here. This is one of my, I have to be honest with you, this is one of my favourite kind of OTT kills.
Yeah, it's
ever.
great,
So Robert Loggia grabs her.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got you.
Yeah.
And then she turns around and stabs him. And then, fair enough, like she thinks it's Norman. Like she's not malicious.
She's freaking out. Like,
It's completely normal. And then I thought, they're gonna do it. They're gonna. This is the moment I went, they're gonna do the falling down the stairs again. Like, do you know what I mean?
No.
And that's what. And he goes over the side of the banisters and hits the bottom banister, and the knife goes right through.
And I remember even watching it, go like, ooh, like it was just, and the way they did it was brilliant. Like it's so horrible.
Because I don't know if that was meant to be like a fake out. Because I was fully expecting them to go down the stairs.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
I just remember watching it on TV, and when that happened, just go like, oh. It is just a knife being pushed in further, but there was something like
it's just the fact that it's just a shot and you see it.
Yeah,
hit,
and it was brilliantly done as well. Yeah, it's great.
Because this, I have to say, in terms of, I think this sequence here from where he's on the phone playing the piano up. Until we'll go a bit further into it now.
Yeah,
it's the best in the film. Like it's fucking. It's where it earns its merits. Like,
it's a tour de force like that. Yeah,
really
like the whole thing of like the way it builds up and the way she gets more and more like hysterical.
And she's looking down at Robert Loggia's body, and then you just see Norman walk further into the room, and you're like, oh no, he's coming, he's coming.
Yeah. And
you're like, no, Norman, don't do it.
Don't worry, mother, I'll take care of it for you. How many times? Yeah, that's great. But
then he's off the phone, so his psychosis has switched then to Meg Tilly, and he's like, because he sees Robert Loggia's body and goes, how many times have I cleaned up for you, mother? I'll do it. And then there's, I mean, it's not a slasher, so I'm not angry at the epoxy prosthetics hands.
Yeah, I found that weird that the whole hand is a prosthetic. I was like, would it not just be like one part of it or something? But I did like, it is just kind of nasty the way she's like just kind of poking him with it.
And I love the callousness in that moment from Perkins. He is just, in his head, just trying to protect his mother. But it's like, did you ever seen Con Air when Nicolas Cage is shot in the arm and he just keeps going? Like,
Good show,
that's what I thought of, like, genuinely, like.
I wonder, you're more on the symbolism than I am. Now, he gets stabbed in both hands and he does get stabbed in the side as well, which they don't focus on. No. But I was like...
But there is also, we'll get to it, but we'll come back to that point.
Yeah, okay.
So she's stabbing him and they end up back down in the fruit cellar.
Down in the cellar, yeah. So he's backing her down the stairs. And this is what's great about and why the right actor is so important, because Perkins is so good at playing the kind of timid rabbit, but then he's also like the best psycho actor ever, like in a movie.
So he's not paying attention. He's getting stabbed in the chest and everything, like, and he's just not. Obviously, it's a film. You know that it's fake, but because that sequence is so good, you're in it, and you're like, oh my god, this guy is unstoppable. Like, how do you stop these type of people? Like when a blade won't do it. What do you do? Like, from his point of view, he's like, just the psychology of the guy. He's like, it doesn't matter how much you hurt me, mother. I'll always love you. And you're like, oh, you poor. Like at the same time, you're still like, Jesus, the poor fucking guy. Like, what did your mother do to you?
Yeah, what happened? Well, you find out in Psycho 4, which is the weakest of the four.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, you can guess. Although, did you ever see Bates Motel? I never saw it.
I've never watched
TV
that.
show,
I tried to get into it, but I'm not a big fan of Vera Farmiga, so
okay.
I don't like her face.
Really?
Yeah, she seems cold.
Oh, interesting.
The way I look at her is the way I look at her. Do you remember that film Up in the Air? George Clooney.
Oh yeah, I never saw it now.
Right, so she's in it and she has a real bad turn.
Okay.
Like, not a heel turn, she's not a villain. But they're having a relationship and she's obviously a kept woman. Do you know what I mean? And just how she changes her personality. I just think that's Vera Farmiga.
Ah, interesting.
So I colour everything with that. So that's again similar to Perkins getting typecast. She was so good in that film. I can't look at her.
Do you know what? With the same actress, exactly. The first film I saw her in was one called 15 Minutes, where she plays like an Eastern European prostitute, I think. And I just saw her accent in it was quite good, and then I saw her name was Farmiga, and I was like, oh, she's obviously from Eastern Europe. Geez, she can do an American accent. For years, I thought she was actually Eastern European, like a complete fucking Egypt. Oh, because she's in The Departed, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know, maybe she's grappling with the English language a bit here. I don't know, like, fucking hell, what a guy there. But anyway, so we end up all the way back in the cellar, and they had set it up before, like the coal, and you knew that Vera Miles was in there. But they get down there, and this is, again, just nice little ABC plotting, because the cops are obviously going to go back because they found the body.
Yeah.
So that's happening. This is happening. She's in a frenzy with a knife, and he's coming at her.
And it's great that she's about to do the death blow. Like
so the coal kind of moves down. You see, like, and this is one of the prosthetics I don't mind. It's obviously a prosthetic, but it's so horrible. It does just look like a horrible dead body of Vera Miles. Yeah. And she just like,
she decomposed quick.
Yeah, she did very quick. Yeah. And so I get the timing of it again, where she's bringing down the knife, and that's when the cops burst in and bang, shoot her. Yeah, and it's just great, like the way it all sets
up.
And
because it's kind of like music. Like everything's hitting the right beat. Because even as the shot's taken and she falls and she goes into the other room, and then it's all kind of whoa.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Because it's similar. We were speaking about one battle after another. That whole 20-minute sequence.
Yeah,
this sequence is kind of like that. It's constantly building. It's constantly moving, and then once that shot goes off, you're like,
you can catch your breath, kind of. Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's so well done. This is what makes this film for me.
So well, yeah, this is now
because it's easy taking off. You have to land the thing, and
very much so.
They've done it fantastically well here.
Now I will echo Quentin Tarantino. I do think the first one is better overall than this film. I will say now, the more I rewatch the first one, I do find the ending. A lot of people now don't like the Irvin the Explainer guy coming in. I even find the bit where because if you didn't know the twist of the mother being alive probably colors the whole film. When you know the twist, they basically stop Anthony Perkins. Like the other guy, Loomis, just comes in and just kind of grabs him by the neck and the arm, and that's it. It is a little anticlimactic. And then they have the bit in the first time I saw Psycho, I actually really liked the Irvin the Explainer bit, and I find it kind of interesting, but it isn't.
We call him Irvin the Over-Explainer.
Yeah. I think I borrowed that. I think Ridley Scott calls it that. There's another one called the Lord Privy Seal, which is they use that in the UK where when you're obvious. So it's like, if you're explaining what a Lord Privy Seal is, you say Lord, and it cuts to the shot of like a guy in the Houses of Parliament, privy, a toilet, and then a seal, and you see, like it's so obvious, and that guy makes it obvious. The ending of this film, I don't think there's any question, is better than 100%. The first one.
Oh, definitely. Well, unquestionably. And the one thing I will say about that tracking shot in the original.
That is the very final scene in the first one is great.
It's fun. Where it's tracking towards him and he just smiles.
Yeah, and he said, I wouldn't hurt a fly. Like, sorry, I kind of forgot about that. Is amazing. Like, that is amazing. But like,
that's iconic.
The previous two bits to it, this film is great for the last half an hour.
Yeah.
It's the strongest part of the film. So just on that balance. So they had set up earlier that this desk clerk at a hotel had seen Meg Tilly arguing with Vera Miles. Yeah. So he's there. And I just like that actor. He just kind of looked like this arsehole kind of guy who'd be paying attention to things. It was just kind of nice casting.
And there was a really nice point here that I thought was just great writing. And it's, will you just check this to make sure it's right? And he goes, no, I didn't say that. I say, what was it?
He says, he didn't say, I'll kill you. He says, there'll be trouble or something like that. Yeah. And then, but even from there, you're like, I think the cops have made up their mind.
Yeah.
And I really like, there's a shot of Norman waiting outside, and you get the feeling of like he's the naughty schoolboy, and he's like,
and he looks at his hands.
Yeah.
And we see stigmata essentially.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Nice. Now, the bit where the sheriff is explaining, I guess they're meant to be like kind of the DA office.
No, so he was either the prosecutor or the defense of. He's in the start of the film. The guy sitting in the middle.
Oh, okay. Never picked up on that. He'd be the DA. Yeah. And then we're not quite. One of the other guys does. Now the guy who actually does the talking in the scene is dressed like a cowboy, and I recognize him immediately. He's in one of the Death Wish sequels, I want to say, but he's in Blue Velvet.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think David Lynch put him in Blue Velvet because he's a bad actor. Because there's a bit. Me and my friends still to this day quote it where anyone who hasn't seen it, the plot catalyst in Blue Velvet is the main character finds an ear in a back kind of field. And he brings it to this guy who he knows is a detective. And he goes, I found an ear. And the detective guy, who is the guy in Psycho 2, goes, really? I guess I'd better take a look. And he opens the bag and he goes, yes, that's a human ear, all right. And I was like, did he tell him to play it that way? But watch it. He isn't actually a very good actor. Because in this scene, like the way he says things, I'm like, ooh. Like, you don't, I noticed it, I think, because I was like, that's that bad actor guy.
Yeah.
It doesn't ruin the scene. But essentially, the point of the scene is the sheriff is like, this is what happened. And there is a great line that kind of papers for me and over any cracks of it. He goes, if you'd seen her at the end, you'd know what I'm talking about. Dressed up in the mother's clothes and with the knife. She'd gone completely insane. And you're like, well, that's it. Finished. End of story. Like whether that was really what would happen.
Little did we know that
Indeed,
this was not the ending.
No.
So
once again, they send Norman home
alone.
Yeah.
They take him out the back way because obviously there's probably some media outside or whatever.
Yeah.
And he arrives home and he's sitting down to a sandwich.
He loves a
sandwich now.
He loves the old sandwich,
and a glass of milk. I did actually just now. Like, I love the fact that he goes, I was just about to sit down for a sandwich and a glass of milk. Yeah, happy to join me. A complete taken from the original. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did like that because they do play with it. It's not harking back to it too much, but they can't. They're letting you know there's continuity here. Yeah, they're letting you know.
Yeah.
This is a direct sequel. Like, but then we get a knock at the door. Oh, actually, no. We see him and he's filling the coal.
He shovels the coal in, which is not actually that necessary. But that just shows
he needs the shovel.
The hands are bleeding. Yeah,
and he also needs
the shovel. Yeah, exactly.
So he brings the shovel back to the
shovel back up. Yeah,
back up, and he's sitting in the kitchen. Exactly. You think nothing of it. He sits down, he's having his thing, and you're like, and in that moment, you're like, I personally was like, I don't know how to feel.
There's something, No,
but I don't know how to feel about Norman.
Because
I've been so sympathetic towards him, but we know that he's gone schizo again.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know what this film wants me to feel. And then the knock.
Yeah.
And in walks the manager from the diner previously.
Yeah. Now, did you remember her?
Yes.
Okay. The first time I saw it, now I did see it on TV, so it's possible I started watching it late or something. I do just remember going like, who is that?
Yeah.
I had forgotten who she was.
She obviously greets Norman at the in the thing, and then I think she's in one other scene just for a second.
There is a bit where she's like the camera lingers on her a little longer than normal, like looking at him when he leaves after the Dennis Franz thing or something.
Yeah, because and then what we learn is Norman on the phone has been talking about his real mother.
Yeah,
and to the point actually we forgot a major plot point there.
Yeah.
the Dr. Raymond, Robert Loggia, brings very quickly Norman to his mother's grave.
Oh yes, yeah.
to prove that he's dead. But at this point, he's going on about his real mother.
Yeah.
So
she wasn't my real mother. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is obviously this woman has been calling up and telling him. So the story she spins is, you were born to me out of wedlock, and my sister raised you, and I was released from an institution around the same time as you were put in.
Runs in the family.
Yeah, which I had no problem with all of this. Now, they do, in modern terms, they retcon this. In the next one, they just went back, no, that wasn't. She was just a lunatic who, it wasn't really his mother, basically. But I find that with people when they say that weakens this.
I just need you to say one thing. Yeah. Do not mention another word about Psycho 3 because I cannot wait to watch it. You'll like it actually. They're all good in their own way. I do find like the quality of the first two now, I wouldn't say this is as good as the first one, so there is a slight dip. It's not quite as good as 2 and 4 isn't quite as good. But they're all good in their own way. That's all. I don't even think they make a big thing out of it. But I just take it as when I find it, I do watch films I have to forgive me, in a meta way. I'm just like, they intended this to be true, so I just take it as true. Then when I watch Psycho 3 and they tell me it's not, I'm not watching Psycho 2, I'm watching Psycho 3. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Maybe there's films where that'd be different, like if it was The Godfather or something, I'd be like, oh, hold on, you can't retcon.
Now, obviously, they're back in the kitchen, and I'll gush about it till the cows come home. And Anthony, I forgot his name. Anthony Perkins.
Oh yeah. I was like, I couldn't be talking about him.
But that's what happens when you've been talking for an hour and a half. Your brain stops working. But yeah, and the way Anthony Perkins plays it here is Because he's just so calm. Oh yeah, no, you sit down, please.
Yeah.
And he's gone, and you see him picking up the shovel.
Yeah.
And then bang. And it's just like, oh, Norman's back, baby.
Yeah, well, I think in a way, like, the way he plays it is like, life is nice and simple now. I know what I have to do. I just have to kill you. And I remember I was watching it with my brother, and I remember when, I think it took me a while, I think it was actually when he killed her, I remember going, I think I said out loud, like, oh, he's innocent, but he's still fucking crazy. Because, like, he was just... And how the fuck they did him hitting her on the head with the shovel? Because it's in one shot, and you can see her hair move, and you can see the shovel fucking.
It must have been.
It must have been a breakaway shovel, but it's so convincing.
But no,
and it was her, like, who was an old woman, like, anyway.
And the way the chair breaks, it's ridiculous. Like it's shattered into 50 pieces.
It's
like,
so
do you know
fucking great, And it is just a great. Like, this is what I mean when you watch it, but like for the film, if they did it today, they'd find a way to fuck it up and make it, hey, we're back to the original. Remember the cool original, baby? Yeah. In this film, what it is the tragedy of this man. Like, it is, when I say tragedy, you don't find yourself weeping. You're kind of like smiling because it's so melodramatic.
Yeah.
But it is the culmination of the story and how sad it is. And this is what he's been fighting against the whole time. But
this is what we didn't want to happen throughout the whole film.
And they only got away with it, say, because it's a horror film and you can have a kind of an unhappy ending. Like the serious psychological drama thing, this wouldn't happen necessarily.
Yeah. But like, and it's great because he picks her up and then he just carries her into his mother's bedroom. Yeah. And then we hear the talking.
Yeah.
Back and forth.
Back again, yeah. And the final shot of him, like, that is...
standing outside the thing and what's he standing at the bottom of the steps?
Standing at the bottom of the steps, the hotel in the background. And I think even as the sign, like, open for business.
Yeah,
it's like,
it comes
how
on.
do you expect us to live? And you're like, oh, fuck yeah. Half of you is like, oh, fuck yeah. And the other half is like, oh, no.
Oh, no.
But like, it is a testament to how successful his performance is. That's so believable. And it's so... It just is like... I keep saying it, but it's like, it's surprising but inevitable.
I'm about to give this film great praise. Okay?
Yes.
I would sit down and happily argue with anybody that this is up there with the best horror sequels ever. Because
well, certainly with the sequels, yeah. Although with horror films, sometimes the sequels can be better.
You tell me. Evil Dead 2, that's about it.
Yeah, well, that's...
Realistically, that's about it. Do you know what I mean? Because, I mean, if you look at Halloween 2, crap. Freddy's Revenge is nothing on Nightmare on Elm Street.
Aren't some of the Friday the 13th people think the sequels are better?
Yeah, a lot of them do.
I'm thinking
a lot of them do.
No, Nightmare on Elm Street has some ones people like, but the first one is the best.
Yeah.
Jesus, yeah.
Like,
it is, in terms of, like, it's way up there.
No,
Evil Dead 2 is so much of an icon, I suppose. Yeah. It's kind of hard to, but... No, yeah,
it's genuine, and... Especially because I went into this, like I said at the start, very skeptically. I was like, what am I in for? I could not have guessed what I was in for and the ride that I'd go on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it was, I fucking thoroughly enjoyed it. Because, I mean, sometimes in the run-up for doing this, we'll watch the film maybe 2 or 3 times. And by halfway through the second viewing, you're like, oh. Do you know what I mean? Because we do it in quite... But this...
Nothing worse than that.
I watched this twice, right? And I watched the original. And I watched Friday evening. I watched Psycho 2. Saturday evening I watched Psycho 2, and there was no drop in.
Oh, really nice.
Yeah, I was loving it. It was brilliant.
Yeah, well, I'm just thinking of like Kieran's message, like, you know, compared to like something they do today, and they just do something. They might even call it Psycho 2 or whatever.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be. It'd be something different. Yeah,
but they'd have like, well, they'd probably just do like a fucking kind of soft remake of the original, where it's like he doesn't look at her through the peephole, the CCTV, or he's a nanny cam or some shit, and oh, fuck. This tells essentially a completely different story. But it is the continuation of the original story, and it has its own thing to do, and it's fucking brilliant. Like.
It's fantastic. And just before we get into non-submersible units and ratings, we'll probably never talk about it again, but I have to bring up 1998's Gus Van Sant shot-for-shot remake of Psycho. And that man, Gus Van Sant, he's all right. But what was it you said last week? He should be assassinated. For that film alone, that is a bleeding...
Yeah,
fucking Vince Vaughn as Norman Bates, like.
Yeah, I did actually.
Viggo Mortensen, fucking Anne Heche.
I did.
Like,
I rented it on VHS when it came out, and I was like, "What?" I found it. I didn't even get through it.
William H Macy is the private investigator, isn't he?
There's a bunch of stuff. It's one of those movies now that there seems to be like a surprising amount of people online who will stick up for it, and like he's on this.
But he doesn't do anything else. It's a shot for shot remake.
Yeah, I just don't get it.
Like, I mean, obviously people hate remakes and they hate the like. But this is not that. This is literally a remake. It's not a retelling. It's not a different angle.
Yeah, well, the people who kind of defend it now talk about it. Oh, it's this, and he's pointing out like some kind of postmodern kind of a comment or something. I'm like, well, when it was released, he just said the original's in black and white. I wanted to make a color one, and I'm like, maybe that's part of the fucking act. I don't know.
Well, maybe not in 1998, but I'm sure now you can transfer it to color. Like,
yeah,
do you know what I
like
mean?
fucking Jesus. That will forever mystify me. That one. Yeah,
It's just like, who told him it was a good idea?
Yeah, I just find it so like just I don't have that to what people. It's been called pointless for 27 years, and it will continue to be fucking called pointless till the end of time.
The most ridiculous fucking endeavor ever made by anybody.
Yeah, what he was getting at, I don't know. I do not know. Maybe if Meg Tilly had been in it. Keith, I will let you go first for the non-submersible units for Psycho 2. What makes it linger? What makes it a great film? Or
I think I'll give you two. The thing that I will never forget is the empathy and sympathy that I felt for Norman, and that is solely down to Perkins' performance. I won't forget it because it's mad. Like, it's like he plays the character the way he plays it in the conversation with Janet Leigh in the original one. It's everything, because you go through a myriad of emotion and a myriad of kind of reactions to things and everything, and he's playing all of them here and it's just so, there's tenderness, there's sadness, there's anger, and there's downright madness in him.
No, well, there's like a man who's been kicked for 20 odd years, like, for all of his life,
and when we might point out about now just some of the troubles that Anthony Perkins had in real life, like a heavily closeted homosexual man. I had kids, was married up until the day he died, but it was an open secret that he had male friends, let's put it that way. And just a tortured man in real life.
Yeah, he apparently was a bit difficult. Like, the director of Psycho 4 on the Blu-ray said he's being interviewed about like working with him, and he said, I made the mistake once of saying, well, this might be like a camp moment. And he said it just prompted a 25-minute lecture from Perkins on camp, the history of camp, what camp meant. Like, he was a very, very serious, kind of a guy. And look, he has a huge amount of power on that set because he's Norman, Bates and all this. But like, difficult guy. But really, I saw another interview. He's really great in that Orson Welles film, The Trial. And there's a great interview with him talking about working with Orson Welles. And I always sound naive, but like watching that interview, I was like, this seems like a cool, kind of a guy, very intelligent guy, very into his craft and all this. But yeah, he had a rough old go of it, and he ended up, he died.
Age-related pneumonia.
It was an age-related pneumonia. Yeah.
And so on that side
note, yeah.
No, but so
your other non-submersible.
What makes this a great movie is the final 20 minutes or so.
Yeah,
it is. I'm sorry, you said yeah as if I robbed your tongue.
No. Well, I've won.
Yeah, but I know what it is.
Prepare yourself, folks.
But the last 20 minutes of this, in terms of writing, in terms of direction, pacing, everything is on point.
Yeah.
And at times, you don't know what way to feel in a good way. It's like, because you're on a roller coaster at this stage, like, you know what I mean? So you're like, oh no, Norman, but whoa. It's like, it's so quick. The shots, the quick cuts, it slows it down again, and then it's just, it's masterful filmmaking.
Yeah, very, very good. Yeah.
And to say that in a sequel to a Hitchcock film is some short of sublime, like.
Yeah, no, I have to say, like, the effort put in by just everybody, basically. I can't add to, like, I'll just second all of those. Meg Tilly, however,
I knew it.
I will say, when I was rewatching it, I'd forgotten like what a presence she is. As I say, there's moments in it where I'm like, okay, I think her inexperience is kind of coming through her, but there's something about her, and like I cards on the table. I just think she's as gorgeous as any woman.
Now that we're talking about it and I've seen it and I know, the fucking two of them are the image of each other, Jennifer and Meg.
Yeah. No, they apparently jeez, this might get cut out, but like apparently their father was Chinese, and he ran off, and like apparently their mother was like really like racist about it and all this. Like I remember reading an article about a few years, like they had a very, very difficult childhood, the pair of them. And so she's actually retired from acting now, Meg Tilly. I think she retired for ages. So we were kind of robbed of a few great performances. I just found her presence in this like perfect. Whereas she's not always great. Yeah, there's something. She just has kind of a star quality about her, even though, like as I say, there's one or two moments where she's a little weak. But like it's ludicrous to say that Perkins isn't the main submersible. He is so good in it. Like it was the role he was born to play. As much as he probably would wrangle against that, like that's just how it was, you know. But a rating, Keith?
A very high 4, pushing 4.5, but I give it 4 because I do think there's certain things. Because I don't have a lot of issues with it, but in terms of a rating, I do think some of the stuff is aids, like some of the prosthetics and stuff. Like it doesn't make me step outside of the story or anything, but if I can only give it a 5 if it's perfect in every way. And
fair enough, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, but a very high 4.
The only reason I don't give it a 4.5 is because I
didn't get to see Meg Tilly actually naked.
Exactly, yeah. Damn it. I'm gonna limit myself to the whole numbers. It's the only reason. But I would put it in 4.5 territory. Yeah. Okay. I just think it's just great. It is like missing a slight little X factor to make it absolutely amazing. I can't tell you what that is because the first one has it. I would give the first one 5. Yeah. So I think I just don't think this one has scenes as good as the parlor conversation scene. That's what I think of when I know everyone thinks of the shower scene and all this.
Yeah. No. But that's
but like, that scene is he is just so perfect in that scene.
And how he like just
as
switches
great as he is in this.
Like
So, but like, what a film! Like, really, really. If you haven't seen it, guys, if someone made it this far, fucking go out and watch it. You will not be disappointed.
It's fantastic.
Really, really good. Yeah.
And do yourself a favour, go back and watch the first one as well, because
why not? Watch all 4 of them. They're
I cannot wait. Because this evening I'll have a night off. Nice. I won't be editing. I won't be doing anything. I'm watching Psycho 3 and I can't wait.
Nice. You're in for a good time. Yeah. On that bombshell, guys. Meg Tilly, if you're watching, hit us up.
I don't know
Jennifer too, although Jennifer is in her. I looked this all up last night. Jennifer Tilly is in a relationship with an Irish American poker player. she was apparently she was amazingly good at playing poker. She won like big tournaments and all this. So talented women, yeah. And her sister Meg was in this, very talented novelist and good actresses. You know, fair play, talented family.
So
on that bombshell, see you next time.
You adieu.
Like and subscribe and all that good stuff.
All that good stuff, yeah. Well, see you later.